Hello, my English-speaking followers and friends around the world. Hope all is well with you. I had quite a lot of messages that you want me to do some more English videos. So I thought it was time to do a Sweden is on fire update 3.0. A lot have been going on since my last English video, and the debate in Sweden right now has actually opened up quite a bit, especially since the news about what happened in Cologne in Germany on the New Year's Eve, where up to 1,000 migrants or asylums or seekers, men, randomly attacked and sexually abused women on the open street, groping them, putting their fingers up their, cutting them with knives, and a lot of other bad stuff. This also happened in Helsinki in Finland, in Hamburg, and in Kalmar here in Sweden, and a few other small towns. In my earlier videos, I questioned how it's possible that the police and the media don't report crimes, or they put on the wanted posters with the description of the convict, if it's an immigrant or someone with Middle Eastern or Northern African appearance. And a few days after my video about this in Swedish, the Swedish news magazine DN, or if it was the Swedish Dagbladet, released the topic that the Swedish police are working with a code that they're gonna collect all the information about crimes that are committed by asylum seekers and migrants here in Sweden. And it goes by the code 291. Every police errand that's with a suspect with immigration background or an asylum seeker, they would report under or file under code 291. A few days ago, the media reported, Dagens Nyheter, reported that since October of 2015 up to this date, over 5,000 police reports have been filed under this code 291. That's only crimes committed by asylum seekers and migrants. That's actually 55 crimes a day. That's quite a lot, if you ask me. I have never seen this kind of violence in Sweden ever before. I'm turning 40 next summer, not this summer. And I have never been a part of this. Gang rapes, stabbings, robbery, assaults, molestations, rapes in public swim houses, in the open public. You had now a 22-year-old asylum worker, help worker, got stabbed to death at the asylum center. The reason why, I don't know, but she was a Christian from Libya and the other guy was from somewhere else. The problem here is that because many of the migrants come to Sweden without identifications, the police and the court system can't send these guys to jail. Like this guy now who stabbed a 22-year-old. The media and the government say that this guy is 15. Clearly, on pictures seen of him, he's 22 to 25. Easy. Earlier this summer, a Swedish woman was gang raped by 3 Moroccans who was living on the streets here in our main capital town of Stockholm. She was gang raped for hours. They took chokeholds on her and they punched her in the face repeatedly, hour after hour after hours. In police reports, She said felt she was dying, also in the media. Then what do you think these three guys was sentenced to? The guy who was the most active and violent didn't get any punishment because they couldn't decide his age and they couldn't decide his identity. The other two was sentenced to 6 months juvenile detention because they couldn't decide the age, they couldn't decide their identification. This is the stuff that goes on in Sweden day after day after day. And the police, the government, the media act like nothing. They just goes on an everyday basis. 3 days ago, 200 men gathered in Stockholm and decided to do a public beating on people that looked like Moroccan street children or immigrants. They said enough is enough. I do not defend them, but I can clearly understand why they did it. Right now, asylum seekers and migrants are flooding into Sweden without IDs, without passport, and they do whatever they like. They rape, they rob, they beat up, and they are sexually harassing people without the possibility for the legal system to sentence them because they don't know their age and they don't know their identification. But still they are allowed into our country. We are reading constantly about fires starting at asylum centers, rapes at asylum centers, death threats at asylum centers, stabbings. The list goes on and on and on. But nobody in the government or in the news, a few reporters are very good and a few politicians are actually very, very involved in this and they know what's going on. But the majority acts like nothing. And the reason why is that our politicians, they are living in what you can call gated communities with Caucasian people. The result of their politics does not affect them. The results of their decision and their naivety does not affect them whatsoever. Yesterday, or a few days after the murder of this 22-year-old woman, the chief of police goes out on national TV and says that we have to consider that the murderer might have had a tough upbringing. We don't know what's been going on in this guy's mind. We have to consider also that he's also a human being. What the fuck? They are now defending murderers. They are defending rapists because they have Middle Eastern or Northern African heritage or ethnicity. Do you understand how wrong that is? So if you're a Caucasian and you commit a crime, let's say for example the murders at IKEA where an asylum seeker killed 2 Swedish citizens because they look Swedish. What do you think if the murderer was a white one and killed 2 black people because they look black? What do you think the media response would have been then? How do you think the politicians would have reacted? Do you want to know what the Prime Minister of Sweden did the same day he found out that 2 Swedish citizens was murdered by an illegal asylum seeker who was going to be deported out of Sweden, but instead went to IKEA to murder 2 people so he can stay in Swedish prison instead of going back home? Do you know the response of the Swedish Prime Minister? Dead silence. He did not go out and pay his regards to the family of the murderers. He did not go out and say that this is not acceptable, this is not okay, we have to act and we have to fix this problem ASAP. Nothing. A few months later, a young guy goes into a school in Trollhättan. He kills 3 people. He was dressed up as Darth Vader. He killed 3 people with swords. The same day, the Swedish Prime Minister flies down to Trollhättan, has a public speech, he condemned the act, and so on. A lot of other politicians too, and artists. So that Swedes are racist and that we make differences among immigrants and the native Swedes is bullshit. The ones who makes a difference between the native Swedes and the immigrants are the politicians. Also now, in this stream of migrants coming here, they are finding out that a lot of men are married to very, very small girls between the age of 9 and 15. Some also have kids. But instead of separating them, because here in Sweden that's called pedophilia, you're a pedophile if you're married to a girl under the age of 15 and you're 30 and up. But instead of separating them, Swedish politicians go out and say that, well, we have to take it in consideration that it's part of their culture. Say again. Should we accept pedophiles because in their culture it's considered to be okay, normal? I don't make this shit up. I can link the news reports about this. So like I said, 5,000 crimes since October by asylum seekers and migrants. And still nobody in the elite sees the elephant in the room. Sexual assaults in bathhouses, gang rapes outside, sexual assaults outside on girls between the age of 7 or 11. Stabbings, robberies, gunshots, explosions, car fires. You know, the Swedes are starting to be a very, very aggressive and violent people, don't you say?